Welcome to One Small Step. This is the FMC findmecoaches.com PodClass series. It's so named because we aim with each episode to leave our audience with at least one small step that will take them nearer to achieving their goals, reaching their full potential. I'm Colin Newbold and I'm the founder of FMC, which is a coaching platform where you can find certified and experienced professional coaches who work with clients across a wide variety of areas. And the format of these episodes is an interview that I record with a selection of our coaches. Welcome to another episode of the One Small Step podcast. Now, my guest today is Manuela Forster, who joins us from Nuremberg in Bavaria. Now, Manuela, I know you're skilled in a number of different but related coaching areas. But for this podcast, you've chosen to talk about authenticity, building authenticity. So tell us why you chose that. What makes you choose that one?
Yeah, thank you, Colin. So authenticity is really very close to my heart because of my own experience in life. So I'm 35 years in healthcare, and I was a very long time in a medtech company. And also I had 9 different job positions and different roles and always could learn and discover new things. I always had this slight feeling that I cannot be 100% my true self. So this authentic self I really am. And it's really so that just be you. We are saying that so easily, but what does it mean for us? So who can just be themselves? So for most of us, it's a longer journey, right? So because we are so much influenced by the outer world, by the conditioning of our family, our friends, our colleagues, our managers, the experience in our work life. So just is not possible. And when we are beings, so especially for business owners, it is a real challenge to be, because honestly, also for myself, I learned that you're so much in your doing mode, in your buy me mode. You always try to achieve something, and you're working so hard to bring your own ideas into the world and really start your business and make it go. And so the being is really what feels behind. And it is very much connected to authenticity, because when you are your true authentic self, and I'm speaking about authenticity connected to our soul, when it's about your soul blueprint, and then it is really when you're synchronized with it on a higher energy level that you're operating, right? So imagine a situation, you are outside and we are maybe in the circle of family and friends, and you can just be you. And I guess it is a difference still if you're in that friend circle or if you're in business. So if you really can show up as your authentic self and have fun and can just say what you want to say, and you always know that it's the right thing. You always know to do the right thing when you have established your inner connection. So that is what I mean with authentic self, and you really found yourself in you and not in the outer world.
That's a really interesting description. It's a lot less stressful being who you are. And yes. Also, we've all come to expect the work self to be a human doing, and the authentic self perhaps to be the human being, and that's what we need to get back to. And I think that's great work that you're doing, Manuela. What type of people are your typical clients?
So it is really various. So I have business owners because they see I was in that business world working. So I was 30 years working for that medtech company. And so I know the stress, I know the challenges you have in management, you have in business, and what you're dealing with. So I know their situation quite well, but I also learned about how it could be different. When you're coming back to your spiritual connection, and when you come back to your really authentic self being, and not doing. So I can combine both of it, and that's why with my journey, my personal journey, coming back also to my shamanic wisdom and my energy medicine practice, I can support many people from different areas. But I'm very much asked from the business areas, where people reaching out because they see me, they know me from the business world, especially in healthcare, and they're asking me if I can help them to really reconnect to their inner self, find that inner stability, what you so need as a business owner or leadership person, right? That you really feel safe inside when you have to deal with so many things outside which are changing in a very high speed. So it's very much business owners, but another area of people who is coming to me, which is more the health area, people who have experienced that the traditional medicine, school medicine, is not helping them anymore. So that conventional thing is not helping them. They may have chronic issues, and they're seeking for someone who understands that there might be another cause for their issues, for their health issues. And that's where I can look with my expertise, looking for the so-called energetic knot. So where is the energetic knot? Where is something in the chakra, in the energy center, where I can release something, that the life force is flowing constantly and powerfully. And that is nurturing all of us, all of our organs, nervous systems, glands. So that is really incremental and is really very important for our health. So for everybody. That's why this topic of authenticity is very much connected to energy. So like I said, so when you're authentic and you are connected to your soul and you're synchronized to your soul blueprint, then you are vibing on a higher energy frequency. And when you have found that, you're able to really empower yourself and your self-healing mechanisms. And that is really valuable for everybody, of course.
That makes perfect sense, Manuela. It really does. What languages can you work in?
So I can work in German and in English. So I'm using English very much as I'm connected to several international communities. So that is.
So your clients, your clients come from all over. They're not just German clients.
From all over, yeah. That's also while I was in business so long, and so I have an international network, and also from my educational trainings, like in coaching or in energy medicine. So I learned from international mentors and trainers. So that's for me very, very easy to switch from one language to the other.
Yeah, that's great. How would you describe your coaching style, Manuela?
Well, for me, it's when someone comes to me first time, it's for me very very common that I of course see the soul which is coming. So I'm looking at the person. I might be looking differently because I have that shamanic view or that view from the spiritual person, and I see the spiritual person also in front of me. So I try to not get distracted by outer things or by just the clothing or the style, but I see the soul, and that is where I'm really very, very good in that, as I'm a very intuitive person, that I can already see or feel where the person is coming from, in which emotions or in which troubles they might be. So that is where I can really look deeper and can help the people to see themselves better through my eyes. So with feeling them with the intuitive skills, and also seeing with my third eye activated, so I can really see a bit more. And some people say, well, I'm like a professional mirror. I'm mirroring them. So I exactly recognize what's going on, and so I help them to really see themselves after a short time. And the second thing, what I've learned, especially with business owners or management people, most of them, they struggle that they're really completely disconnected to their inner world because of that outside noise and conditioning. So they come to me and they value that I'm so intuitive and skilled that I can show them easy ways to connect to their heart and soul again, to find, to quiet their mind and find their inner peace with a breathing exercise. And that's how I start actually the coaching session, if the client is okay with that, of course. That first I create a sacred space, so that I really make sure that there's pure and good energy and positive energy and higher vibration already when they enter my online room or personal. And then I really let them calm down and go out of the mind into the inner world. And that we can do with a 5-minute breathing exercise to really calm down the nervous system and get into more deep breathing. And that helps to of course, open up to have the conversation and to do actually the coaching. Because when you're in that fight or flight mode, when you're just, maybe you have a coaching session just in between your daily schedule, and you're running out of your meeting and you're stressed and your thoughts are still in your mind about this meeting topic, and you run into the coaching session. So how can that work perfectly when you're not calming down yourself first, right? And that's what I'm offering in the first 5-10 minutes, to really that they can arrive in their inner world, in their calm world, and then to open up, to really make it more valuable and powerful, the session.
Yeah, so it's not just an approach for new coaches to ensure they're comfortable, but it's also about each session, isn't it? It's grounding them in a sense, so they can make the most of the session with you. Tell me, I'm just curious about this, Manuela. Is this shamanic view, is this a gift, do you think, that you have, or is it something you learned? How would you describe your, the journey to where you are now?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, so actually it is coming back to that. So like I said, it was really a longer journey for me. So it was the last 7-8 years where I was going deeper and deeper. And it started actually that I was in that fight or flight mode in business, and I could not sleep very well. I really have difficulty. I was so stressed and flushed with adrenaline and cortisol all the time. So I said, there must be a change. So it's not going that way. And so I started with meditation and listening to frequencies. And about 1 or 2 years after that, I learned about the shamanic ways. And I learned about Alberto Villoldo, which is my teacher for that South American shamanic education training from the Four Winds Society International Renown. And so I discovered that feels very familiar for me. And for me, it's really that awakening in me that I was always the shaman. I was, and when I went on this meditational journeys, which you do, so you go into meditation and you see which place in the world comes up maybe. And so often I found myself at this, very cultural, prehistoric places. I was in France, and I was in England, but I also was in Peru at the Machu Picchu. So I saw myself at a ceremony. So I knew that my soul was somewhere at this time, at the Inca time there. So it made sense for me to do that education and training, because you could ask, why are you doing that South American style? You're from German. And everywhere in the world, in every country, we of course have these traditions, because it's just natural that we lived with Mother Nature, and we had those kind of rituals and in all traditions and in all countries. So it made sense for me to connect to this tradition, but I also am connected to Tibet, or to the Druids in France, or I saw Stonehenge as well at some point. So there's different places, and that is actually typical for old souls, like we say. So because we had many lifetimes on this earth, And that's why I found back. So sometimes it's just intuitively that I'm doing things, practicing and do rituals and make a process healing activity, healing methodology, which just comes out of me. And I say that must come from somewhere, yeah? And I learned that it is really what is deeply stored in my soul, in my heart wisdom, that comes out from many lifetimes. So because I know people are surprised, so how can you be a shaman? You were working 30 years in medtech and a complete different world. How can you say you are now a shaman? Well, of course, I did my education and training, but much more. I was that. I am that. That is my soul. My soul was always healing and doing those things, right? In different traditions. And that's why I call myself now as a future medicine woman, because it is the medicine woman which is deeply inside of me, and future because I also learned that I'm very much connected to the cosmos, to the stars, and I could also gain some insights and wisdom, when you say so, from the future. So I was writing that down and I bring it in now in my healing methodology.
It was in you naturally, but you've leveraged it through the training you've had. That's so interesting. This is a sort of conversation that I feel I could go on with for hours. It's so interesting. But in terms of coaching, when it comes to coaching, as you approach the end of a coaching session with a coachee, how do you action plan with them?
Yes, so I find that very important that you really know both ways where it's going to. So that is why we really discuss also for the energy medicine session. So and for coaching as for it's very important to really know where do you stand right now and where do you want to go and what is the next step. So that is really typical that we make an action plan where the coachee is clear about, and we talk about that, because it's not on me to say, yeah, you need to do this or that. I'm a coach. I'm not a mentor in this role. I'm a coach, so I'm asking questions and I support my clients to go somewhere. So we are speaking about what helps best for them to reach the next milestone or their goal, overall goal. And so we decide both on what is the best step they can make to before we meet again, to really see progress and to really transform into that what they want to achieving.
Can you give us an example of
an action
something
plan is absolutely.
Sorry, Manuela, can you just give us an example of something that you've done with a coachee recently between one session and the next? Bring that to life for us.
Yeah, for example, it's about values very often. So to be clear about own values and to do some exercise to really go into you and write down what are your personal values. Yeah, what is really important for you as a person, and not connected to the outside, what they are expecting from you, but who are you and what are your personal individual values. And then the second exercise going with it is, what are the rules coming in with it? So when you have a value, so what must happen that you really can say, okay, this value, I'm living it, yeah? Or what are values maybe in your life which are distracting you or bringing you away from what you really want? So you can see that both ways, and that is very helpful for many people to really find their way through life, to really make better decisions and be more clear if that is the right direction for them, and really connected to their true self, authentic self, or is it something they are reacting more or less to the outside noise and expectations, right? So
that's
that is typical to have some exercise to really take the time and think on questions to learn more about yourself. And if it's more about health, also calming down, it can also be some meditation practice, easy practice, just to do that every day to really go into some routine, to implement a routine if the coachee is interested to do so.
So at the next session, you check in with them as to how that went. Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah, we
I like the example.
So I reflect. We reflect how was it going. So I let the coachee tell me how did he feel now the last time, and how was it going, and we talk about this exercise and what kind of answers came up, and then we talk about what helps best for the next step, right? Going from this to the next step.
I can see how valuable the values exercise would be, the example you gave, because to be authentic, you've got to be in touch with your values, and not everybody is. So I can see that would be a really good exercise to set them between sessions. And while we're on the subject of examples, this podcast series, as you know, it's called One Small Step, Manuela. So for anyone in our audience who may be challenged in some of the ways you've been describing, if you were to give them a first, like easy step to get going, what would it be?
So you can start with 3 questions. Maybe that's done in 5 to 10 minutes. So what do you want to experience, to be clear? What do you want to experience in life? And where do you want to learn more? What do you want to be educated with? Something you want to learn. And the third thing is, what would you like to contribute to society, to humanity, if you could do? And these 3 questions help many people to really right away get in touch with what they really want to do in life. It might not be in the first attempt that everything comes up, but it's a very good question, which works very well with many clients of mine, to really realize that there's different things they really want to experience than they thought they would be when you're asking them first.
I like the contribution question. It reminds me of the President Kennedy quote. Don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. That's a really interesting third question. Well, thank you ever so much, Manuela.
Our soul wants to contribute. It's the nature of our soul.
That's really helpful. Thank you. Well, I do appreciate the time you've given us and the answers you've shared. Yours is an interesting approach, and I suspect it's not for everyone, but so many of us could do with this, because it's becoming more important than ever to just be authentic. And if that's what it takes to find your authenticity, I think you're doing a fantastic job. Great work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me here, Colin.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Manuela. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. I hope you found that valuable. You got something from it. Now, you may be looking for coaching in that area or a different area, completely unrelated to what was shown in the episode. The best place to go to find out more is our website, which is www.findmecoaches.com. You'll see it on the screen now. And you'll see a variety of coaches in very many different areas of coaching. So you may have an issue or a challenge or an event coming up, or maybe you've just had an interaction with somebody and you really need some help through coaching. So go to the website, have a look at the coaches we offer, the coaching niches that we operate in. And if you want to reach out, there is a form that you can fill in on the website. Alternatively, why not email us at info@findmecoaches.com, or why not call us? Our number is +44 if you're outside of the UK, 0203 988 6666. Once again, that's 0203 988 6666. Bye bye now.